I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., best known for his anti-vaccine advocacy and history of promoting ugly conspiracy theories.
He's trading in on Camelot, celebrity, conspiracy theories, and conflict for personal gain and fame.
He and I'll just say other conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories.
If his last name wasn't Kennedy, nobody would be paying attention to him right now. He'd be another guy yelling conspiracy theories on the traffic island at 79th Street.
He's a dangerous conspiracy theorist running for president of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, Robert Jr.
To figure out the truth, I went on the ground to talk to supporters of RFK Jr. Are they all conspiracy nuts, a danger to society, or is there something else that is going on?
All right, we're at the RFK rally in Area 15 in Las Vegas, and we are going to talk to some RFK Jr. supporters today. Let's go. When did you first hear about RFK?
When he put his hat in the ring. I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast for 3 hours. I watched the podcast with Dr. Mark Hyman, and everything that he says, I feel he spits facts.
I've been waiting for his campaign to come to fruition my entire adult life. I've been watching the two major parties polarize to the ideological extremes for the last probably 10 to 20 years, thinking that there's no one for me to even listen to, let alone vote for.
His dad is phenomenal, and so is his uncle, and he takes on the best of both of them into himself.
We vibe on the same frequency. We question everything.
I think he's an interesting alternative to the rematch that nobody wants to see between Joe Biden and Trump.
In order to get, let's say, to get America back on the right track, because I think we can all agree that we've kind of veered off the right path for quite some time. What are one or two policies that you think that he has that the other candidates, whether Trump or Biden, that they don't have?
If you listen to Bobby talk about how he'll reform the Fed and how he'll immediately go to the National Health Institutes of Health, he'll immediately go to the Centers for Disease Control, and he'll immediately order the end of cross-pollination between our national health institutes and big pharma to put an end to what has become a crisis of chronic public health.
He's very big into changing the health of America, which is very important to me. I think we're very, very sick, and that has to change. I learned that the healthcare, more money is spent on that than on the military, which is scary.
I'm a big proponent of his stance on how to end chronic disease and understanding that these companies that make billions of dollars might not actually have our best interests at heart when it comes to our health.
Tired of the same old crap. It's not getting us anywhere. We're spending thousands, billions and billions of dollars on useless wars and killing people instead of taking care of our education and our health care and our basic needs.
He has fought against the system. If you go look at his litigation record on the environment and the letters he's written.
This from a practicing attorney, by the way.
Yeah. I really listen to his issues. When it comes to vaccination, he's not an anti-vaxxer. He's demanding evidence that vaccines are not only effective, but safe.
I mean, there's things I don't agree with, like his full support for Israel, for example. With the vaccines, I don't know if I'm 100% with him at all the time at some of the things, but generally speaking, I've seen some of his podcasts, and he's like someone who's trying. He actually cares. I mean, he has also a history of fighting the establishment, going against the machine. Talking a lot about the middle class. That's been, essentially decimated. Things that I think a lot of normal, everyday people care about.
I like that he believes in old school democracy instead of this new stuff they're shoving down our mouths. I don't know where the hell Biden went, but he just flew way off into wherever. And, have a hard time with school administrators not being able to give an aspirin, but they can give a puberty blocker. You can make a choice to change your gender, but you can't vote, drive, or drink.
Think about how we were at 22 or 25. Your brain is developed.
You're not 22 right now?
Flattery will get you everywhere. Guess how old we are.
No, I don't know. Do you think the media is somewhat misconstruing his vaccine position?
I think the
100%.
media. I think the media are baffled by him. They don't know what to make of him. I was a television news correspondent for 35 years before I recently retired. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a writer for an excellent newspaper, the Salt Lake Tribune, the other day, when shortly after Utah volunteers got RFK Jr. on the ballot in Utah, which was the first state to do it. The story in the Salt Lake Tribune, written by a friend of mine the next day, was conspiracy theorist is on the ballot for the presidential election. I called and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "My editor wrote that headline, I didn't." There's a huge difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact-based revelation about an ongoing conspiracy that is laid out the way he lays out a case, as though he were in federal court.
What happened 4 years ago, I personally feel like it was a bullshit. I feel like things were controlled, and nothing's shown that they're not going to not control that, so I don't want to subscribe to it, but I'm going to be a person that's going to go physically to these spaces to talk to people, get the energy, and get the experience that mainstream media would not show.
I think it's interesting that he has a lot of support, given that the mainstream media has not, talked about him and try to kind of, push him out.
What are your guys' thoughts on the media in terms of them covering Bobby Jr. versus how they covered Trump?
What coverage? They're not covering him. They're scared to death of him.
They don't have a clue where to begin how to cover him.
He can talk anybody under the table because he knows the issues.
Nobody, to my knowledge, has done a deep dive into who he is, how he came to be, and what his policies are, and what his strategies are, day one. I haven't seen it yet, but we hope to see it soon.
What kind of candidates have you supported in the past?
Well, anybody like the anti-establishment, the ones who go against the grain, who don't want to be like, I really personally like Bernie Sanders a lot back in the day.
I voted for Trump in 2016. I voted for him in 2020.
She and I actually met at the Trump rally. We clicked.
So Bobby Jr. is bringing in people together that wouldn't have otherwise met, or is it
so.
Trump is bringing people
I
together?
grew up in a house with a Democratic mother that was from Washington and a father that's from South Carolina that was a staunch Republican.
I was registered Democrat my whole life until 2 weeks ago.
Wow. And are you Republican now or nonpartisan or what?
Nonpartisan. I'm
There's
getting
a lot of
as much
nonpartisan.
information as possible.
I've always voted Republican. That has always been more aligned with my perception until now.
I have liberal Democrat friends who are supporting Bobby Kennedy Jr. now. I have Republican friends like this fellow here who are supporting Bobby Kennedy Jr. now. I mean, if you really study or listen to him explain his immigration policy, you'd think he's a Republican. If you listen to him explain his environmental policy, you think he's a card-carrying Democrat. We need somebody right in the middle who makes sense of it all and gives us an option so that the major parties don't get to leverage us and force us to broker our votes. That's why I'm so happy about his candidacy.
I haven't voted the last two elections. So his speech brought me the faith in the system again. So to answer that shortly, I wouldn't even care about anything political if he didn't start.
They're trying to get RFK on the ballot in November
Yes.
here in Nevada.
We signed the petitions to get that.
But if he doesn't get on, what do you guys do in terms of your vote? Do you guys sit it out, or do you try to pick one of the other two candidates?
No way. If
Just write in Batman or ceasefire.
Yeah, that's probably me right there.
Yeah, exactly. Destroy the ballot. If there's nobody out there speaks to your needs, destroy the ballot.
If he's not on the ballot, do you pick one of the other two candidates? No. Do you sit out? What's your thought?
I write him in.
So for me, my priority is to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't get reelected. And so I will vote for Biden if I have to.
I probably don't plan on voting because I don't think this two-party system is meant for us.
How do you guys feel about a Trump RFK joint ticket?
Love it. I would love it.
Yep.
That would be my vote.
Well, and I like the fact that Kennedy is an attorney, and I think the two would be a really good pair.
Trump would definitely be down for
I don't think
RFK.
Biden would ever pick him.
Definitely not. And I think it would be a dope-ass team. It was Trump and RFK, like unstoppable team.
I suspect that conversation lasts about 10 seconds and it's over with.
I don't think that offer would ever be extended. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll tell you who I'd like to have be his VP, though, meaning Bobby Jr. I want to see Tulsi Gabbard be his vice president.
Why is that?
Because she's another person who has been a Democrat, who bravely stood up and called out the problems, okay? And obviously there's problems on the other side. I think she's another centrist.
She's a centrist, she's a moderate, and she's a disruptor. And you'd have to say the same thing about Bobby Kennedy Jr.
I just want someone that puts our country first and isn't partisan and doesn't pit us against each other over things that are inconsequential. Because in the end, we all have more in common than not.
Whatever your thoughts are about Bobby Kennedy Jr., whether you like or dislike his policies, it seems like right now, for the first time in a long time, an independent-minded candidate has enough name recognition and cachet to upend the media establishment to throw at least a tiny wrench in challenging the two-party duopoly. That is it for me this week. For this particular segment, I try to do my best to refrain from any kind of editorialization, to really just let the voters speak. So I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are about RFK Jr., whether or not you like his policy, his candidacy, whether you think he's going to make a good president or not. Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. I'm very eager and curious to hear. Also, if you like this video and you want to support my work, please go ahead and like this video, share it with as many people as you can. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and if you feel so inclined, hit that notification bell so you're going to be the first to know when my video drops. As usual, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.